Hi guys and girls on YouTube, welcome to my channel. So I've got a little video here. I think you're going to find this really interesting. It certainly brought back a lot of memories for me. So what we're going to be looking at is a mid-1990s. I've got two things here, a TV and a video. Now these actually came to me as a pair, so I thought what we do for the video, we might as well look at them as a pair. Right, sorry about that, just had to break off for a minute. Right, so what we're talking about here is a 14-inch Saisho TV and a Matsui video recorder. Now, I got these as a pair. There's no reason to believe that they don't work. They could well be working. So we're going to be just taking a look inside. We'll look for the standard things, dry joints, the video. I can't really remember now. I remember there used to be a problem with a limiter post falling out, and I think there's a transistor on the power supply. You think, oh, open circuit. But I mean, it's like more than 30 years ago I used to repair stuff like this. But I thought to make this video a little bit more interesting, what I've gone through my archives and I've looked at some old receipt books from my old shop, and I just thought we'd take a look through there, and you'll see the sort of prices I was charging back in the mid-1990s, 1995 for TV and video repairs. And there's quite a few invoice books here. I've actually looked through a couple of them, and I've picked out a few things. But I found a TV I sold, and there was a very interesting story to that, so we'll take a look at that as well. But for now, I'll just go and get the 14-inch telly and the video, and we'll stick them on this bench here and get the top off. Right, so that's the TV and video in question. 14-inch Saisho's got teletext on that. Not that we'll be using that anymore. And that is the video recorder, complete with, is that the right remote control? No, it isn't. That's the remote control for the TV. I thought that was a video remote, but it isn't. That is for that. Now, I've actually dug out my service manuals from the mid-90s, so if there is any problem with these, we shouldn't have a problem repairing them. Mastercare, they used to supply the service manuals. Now all these, when you bought them from Mastercare, they've all photocopied. So presumably they just had one manual, and with the aid of a photocopier they made lots and lots of money. But every single one of these Mastercare service manuals are all just photocopies. So right, the first thing to do is get the back off the telly, I think. Right, so that's the back of the telly. It's still got the original loop aerial connected, and it is a Saisho CT149TX. It's a little bit dirty, but this will wash under the sink, and of course you can clean out all these holes as well under the sink with a paintbrush. Right, let's get the 4 screws out and get the back off. Right, back's off. Now the first thing you need to be aware of on these sets is it has a live chassis, and that's why we have this isolation box here which plugs in the back of the tuner. So if you're going to be looking at one of these at home, don't go and plug your aerial don't go and plug an aerial wire straight into the back of the tuner. You must use this, and what I used to do, you should undo the 2 screws there and just use it like that. But then when I got an isolation transformer, there was no need for me to use this. And here in this workshop, I'm fully isolated on this bench. This is why I've got these red sockets to tell me there's no earth. They're all fed from an isolation transformer. So whatever you do, don't go and plug anything straight into the back of there if you're dealing one of these. Now of course there is a headphone output there, but if you look, the headphone output is isolated by this little transformer here. So that's the first tip, live chassis. That's the teletext board standing up there. Now the first thing I notice here is these scan coil rubbers. They will need attention, and yes, I've just cut my finger on something there. Now for those of you who don't know, but most people will know, these rubbers, they actually become electrically conductive, and when they do, they go very, very hard, and when it goes hard it becomes conductive. If you stick a meter in there now, you'll find we've got a resistance. Now these are for the convergence to point the yoke up and down, and this flat bit here actually comes in contact with the line scan coil under here, and what it does, it erodes the copper, and you'll find it goes green, and then you get shorter turns and you get a funny picture. So the first thing we need to do is we need to take them out and either replace them or wrap some tape around them before we even think about switching this set on. So let's do that now. Right, so I've got a little bit more light from a bench light now. If you look at that, the moisture absorbed by that is actually causing rust on the scan coil assembly. Now I have a little bit of a demonstration here. I know people like demonstrations. Your rubber should have a matte finish like that, and it should be really rubbery. If it's really rubbery, it's alright, but these have a very shiny surface, and when you take them out, they'll be as hard as rock. It'll be so hard that we can snap that in half. So that's the giveaway. If you've got a soft rubber, you don't need to do anything, leave it. If you've got hard rubber, you need to sort that out. And I'll just get a flute meter and we'll just give a little demonstration, because I know people like demonstrations. Right, let's do this two-handed. So put the meter on there and we stab into there. You see, we've got electrically conductive rubber. That's where I'm stabbed in, and that's the resistance reading we've got. So before we even plug this set in, them have got to come out. If they've already damaged the scan coils, it's going to be a write-off, because you're not going to find any scan coils now. So let's do that first, get them out one by one, because obviously this is an adjustment. It tilts the yoke up and down, side to side for convergence. So we want to do the least possible disturbance on this yoke, so you just do them one by one, otherwise we'll have convergence errors then. Now back in the day when I used to scrap an old TV, I always used to keep these rubber wedges, and they came in handy just for this sort of job. But in times when I hadn't got enough of these and I ran out and I didn't have any more scrap TVs, I'd actually take these out and just wrap some PVC insulation around them, put them back in. But I'm thinking, as I've got these three spares here, we might as well use these and just replace them. So let's do that next. Right, so that's the first one out, and you can see these droplets of moisture on it, and if you look there, you can see the lines where that's been in contact with the line scan coil. They're the lines from the coils. So this definitely does touch the coils, and that's where the trouble occurs. And if we take, I was saying rubbery, that won't move at all. And if you tap it and then tap that, you'll see that that has gone as hard as nails, whereas that hasn't. And once it's gone hard, that's when the trouble starts, because originally it would have been soft like that. So let's just hope that no damage has occurred to the coils. Now of course, because these aren't the right ones, they're out of a different telly, I've actually just cut a little bit off so we can get the right shape to go in, so we can get it in the right position. Right, so that's the first one in. Now to make it look as original as possible, they use like a cloth tape, and what I'm using is the same cloth tape, automotive cloth tape, what they do use in cars for wiring loom repairs, but that doesn't look too out of place. I've not put any silicone on here yet to fix it in position, because in case we need to make any adjustments to the yoke for the convergence after. But that's okay just for now. So there's just the last two to do now, and obviously clean all this first, otherwise your tape won't stick down. But anyway, yeah, that's the first one. Doesn't look too bad, that. Right, so I've just got this line face down on the cloth. That's the last one in at the bottom. These are just in temporary at the moment. They do want some silicone rubber on there, but I've looked out the service manual for it. That's the one, Saisho CT149TX. And if we look in here, we've got release day 1st of May 1987. So it wouldn't have been until the 90s before these started coming into my shop for repair. And if we take a quick look there, dynamic convergence adjustments, it tells you here about the 3 rubber wedges, and we've got all the instructions on setting them up if that's necessary, if I've not got them in exactly the right place. Now let's just flip this telly up and we'll talk about some of the common faults on these in the day. So, common faults, scan coil rubbers, that was one. Another was the line output transformer. It used to, a bulge would appear in the winding where it had got shorter turns, and it'd all smoke pour out, the line had collapsed. The line scanner collapsed. That was another common fault one on these. But by far, oh, that capacitor you're looking at down there, I think that's about 1 mic. That was quite a common fault. That gave a picture fault. But by far the most common fault on these was that white wire wiring resistor standing up there, 5.6 ohm, and that was caused by the chopper control chip on it. It's a 5-pin, is it, Sanken device, STR50103A. That used to hiccup, and it to send the output EHT sky high, and that would blow the SR2 avalanche diode. If this chip went internally short circuit and put a short across the smoothing capacitor, it always took out that 5.6 ohm resistor. Never ever blew the fuse in these sets, and in the trade people used to say, well, what's the purpose of the resistor? And we used to say, oh, it's to protect the fuse, to stop the fuse blowing. Now I've probably still got them 5.6 ohm resistors in stock, but just let's have a quick look at the power supply diagram on the service manual, and then I think we'll go for switching this telly on. And another quite common fault was dry joints there on the frame output IC. Was that a UPC 13 something? I can't remember now. But apart from that, these were pretty reliable sets. Back in the day, sets like this, people used to call them crap, but you know, they were essentially a cheap set, but they were a good set. They stood the test of time, and they're nothing like the crap we produce today with flat screen tellies. Anyway, let's just have a quick look in here. So I've got a few handwritten notes here from many moons ago. Let's find the bit with the power supply on. It's not on there then, is it? No. Yeah, it's on this page here. Now, if you look at the diagram, it shows the power supply IC as an STR451. That was a TO3 device with 3 pins on. Now that was fitted, I think, on a little PCB board standing up, but the equivalent to that was the STR50103. Now I can see in this we've got the STR50103, and when that used to hiccup, it always blew that SR2M avalanche diode. It's like a little coffin shaped diode. I think it was
I think it was like a Zenadiol rated for about 130 volts, and this HT rail was it about 112. If it went above 112, it blew that diode. And quite often you put a new diode in, the set would run for a few hours and then the diode would blow again, but it was always the STR that was the problem. So I mean, this is bringing back memories looking at all this. So I think really we've probably done as much as we can. I think all we can do now is just switch on and see if there's been any damage to the scan coil and see what happens. If the scan coils have got, the line scan sections got shorter turns, you'll know, because you'll have convergence errors and you'll have like a triangular shaped picture. So let's do that next. Let's just power it up and see what happens. And for anyone who's interested, I'll just show you that quickly. That's the STR451. See, it's T03, but it's got 3 pins. And that was replaced by the STR50103A by Sanken, which was available from Willow Vale, SEME, lots of different places, because this one actually became obsolete. And also the prices on these, oh, that's not a, it's an STR454, not 451, but anyway, it was the same 3-pin configuration, but these were more or less obsolete not long after the sets had been built. So yeah, there you go, if you're interested. Right, so that's really all we can do. We're in the lap of the gods now. All I can do is switch it on, see what happens. And if it doesn't come on, if it's got an electrical fault, I could probably fix it, as long as it's not the scan coils or the line transformer. I mean, I do have another one of these sets somewhere, if I did need the scan coils, but that would mean breaking up another telly or a line transformer, because I don't have one of them either. So let's just turn it round and go straight for the switch on, see what happens. Right, so I'm just doing a quick check. I'm just checking the continuity across the mains plug, just to make sure the fuse inside's alright. Now if I turn it on, and I just want to show you this, we've got 24, nearly 25 ohms across the main socket, across the mains plug. Now I know that's ridiculously low, and that might lead you to think there's a problem with it, but it isn't. That's the resistance of the degaussing thermistor. At the instant we turn this set on and the degaussing thermistor warms up, that reading will rise very, very dramatically. So don't measure across there and think you've got a short. 24.7 ohms, that's normal across a TV with a CRT TV where you've got a degaussing thermistor when it's cold. Right, so here we go, it's plugged in the mains. I'm not going to turn it on there. I've already turned it on there. I'm going to turn it on here at the socket, just so I can keep a little bit of distance from it. But here we go, let's see what happens. 3, 2, 1, no, hang on. Let's make sure the volume's down. And these are turned up a bit. Yeah, and they're clicking. Right, okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Well, I don't hear any rustle of VHT, and we cannot change channel. So not particularly a good start. Oh, hang on, what's happening here? Oh, no, it is on. And the picture's looking a little bit green. Why didn't it come on the first time? It seems to be working now anyway. Yeah, it could be a little bit tubey, or it could be just the grayscale that wants adjusting. Right, I think what I'll do now, let's try it on and off again. Get a signal source to it. Yeah, it's come on there. I don't know why it paused the first time. Right, let's get a signal connected to this. Like I mentioned earlier on, if you don't have an isolation transformer, you're going to have to take this out of the back of the telly. You can see your isolating capacitors there, and we're going to plug this into the back and then put a signal in. I mean, for me it doesn't matter because I'm on isolation transformer, but anybody doing this at home, make sure you use this bit. Right, so that's your aerial isolator in use. Now I've tuned a Sky channel in. The picture doesn't look that bad actually. I don't think there's any problem with the convergence, because if you look at the writing, I mean, it's slightly out of focus, but the convergence looks pretty much perfect. So it looks like we've got the scan coil wedges just in the right place, so they can be glued in now with a bit of silicone rubber. This black band here, that is coming from the camera. I don't actually see that on the TV. So let's put a live picture on now. 2:27, Friday the 3rd of October. Yeah, so there we go. We're lacking in a little bit of blue. I think the grayscale does need setting up. Maybe just perhaps a little bit of a tweak to the convergence, but very, very slight. Now we do have volume, but these controls are very crackly.
From their own offices, they say that they do not believe the attack.
So the chassis got to come out to clean them. We don't want to be spraying service all in there. But anyway, we need to check for dry joints, and I'll see if I can improve on the grayscale. Maybe it's just the tube needs waking up. Maybe it's not been used for a long time. But anyway, I'll come back to it in a bit. Yeah, you actually need the remote control to turn the colour down to 0. You can't do it on the front, but that's looking very green. That definitely needs the grayscale adjusting. Right, there we go. That's better. It actually looks different on the camera that I'm looking at. It looks very blue on the camera, but that is a lot better. Right, time to get out the chassis, have a good look round for dry joints and clean these controls. Let's do that next. Right, so nothing really to report under there. I can see where we go, a couple of hot running resistors here. Now I think they're the collector feed for the line driver transistor feeding this transformer. They run very, very hot, so they'll need resoldering. Maybe touch up the frame chip there. But really I can only see one dry joint, and if you look at this, you've got some circles drawn. This would have appeared to be touched up at the factory. Perhaps it didn't work. So if you look on the tube base, there's two red circles drawn there, and that transistor appears to be resoldered. So this looks like it's just been touched up at the factory on the production line. Maybe it didn't work the first time, but anyway, the only dry joint I can see is on that resistor there, R440. I'll zoom in and see if you can see it. You can just see it there, look. So it comes off 1, 2, pin 3 of the line transformer through a resistor, and then it's rectified. Yeah, you can see it there. Let's have a look on the diagram what it does. So pin 3 of the line transformer there. No, that can't be right, because that is a pulse feed, a line pulse feed into the sync separator, so that can't be right. Let's just stop the camera and have a look. Was it pin 3 in the line transformer? I'll stop the camera a minute. Right, I see what the problem is now. So you've got R440 feeding a rectifier D409, but when we look at the diagram here, that's D409, but the current limiting resistor is not R440. And you know, I've just realised what the mistake is. I'm looking at the wrong service manual. This is for a CT149TX, and the telly is CT149TX. So obviously a very similar set, but wrong service manual. But it doesn't really matter, because we don't need the service manual anyway, because I can see that there's very little needs doing to this, apart from a little bit of soldering here and there. So yeah, my mistake that. But anyway, not to worry, let's just solder up and come back. Right, so there we go. I've cleaned these controls with a bit of service salt. Also, I've given it a hoover up inside to make it all nice and clean. I've not just put it back together yet. But one thing in the passing of time that has slipped my memory, that people who repaired these aren't going to forgive me for this, for forgetting this. These sets used to go dead, and there was a couple of resistors, and there they are down there. 2, 3, 30k resistors. They're the startup resistors for the STR 50103 on there, and they used to go open circuit, and that would cause a dead set, and that was like a bread and butter job. You know, you probably get £25–30 for doing that all day long. So yeah, in the passing of time, I completely forgot about them 2, 3, 30k resistors, but there you go. So that's all looking nice and clean in there. Yeah, don't worry about that, I've tested that, that's fine. It's just the plastic's just expanded with time, and that's shrunk. That is also okay. But yeah, nice and clean. Let's put it back in the cabinet now. You can see them 2 resistors there where they run hot for the collector feed for that transistor there. There's a bit of discoloration you can see there in the board. I've resoldered them up. I've tested that cap there, that's okay. In fact, that probably needs bending away from that resistor a little bit. Right, let's get it back in. Right, so that is the telly all done. Now, I did say at the beginning of the video, I've looked through my archives. I found some invoice books from 1995, when I was doing sets like this every day. And let's just take a look what we've got here. So 31st, 1st, 95, 14/8/95. Is it 14/8? Yeah. 30th 95, 31st 95. So I'll have a look through these invoice books, and we'll see what sort of price I would have charged to repair one of these back in 1995, and then I'll tell you. I've been looking through a few of these books, and I've spotted something that brought back a really funny story, which I'll run you through in a minute when we've just had a look at some prices. And we'll do the video tomorrow and just add it on to the end of this video, so you can see these 2 working as a pair, how I got them. Oh, just while I'm looking through these, did I mention in here a limiter post broke off? Well, of course, Matsui, you could get that with lots of different names on the front. So here I've found a receipt, 1st of the 7th, 1995. Repair to Logic Video, limiter post assembly broken off, plus alignment, £26, plus VAT, £30.55. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of these receipts don't actually say what they're for. It just says TV repair. But if you look there, we've got a chipper UPC 1378. Now that's the same frame chip as used in there, so it's probably one of these TVs or one with the same chassis. So we've got £32.98 plus VAT, £38.76. So you can see portable TVs in them days were charging £25–30 plus VAT to repair. While looking through these receipts, I found one for Gerald Moran in Disley. Now there's a really funny story attached to this, and I'm going to tell you because I know everybody likes a good story. So what we got, 6th of the 5th 1995. Right, I'll just turn this off for a minute so we're not disturbed by any flashing lights or anything. So we'll take a quick look at this. That's my old shop there. So back in the mid-90s, 95 or so, there was a scheme to tidy up Fairfield Road and revitalise it. And if you look at that picture, it's looking quiet because it's all been re-tarmacked. And what it was a government grant for about £80. You can have all of your house or your shop or whatever all redecorated for only about £80, and the government put the rest of the money to it. And that's my shop there, and we also had a flat above, so you can see it's 3 stories up. So £80 to do all that lot was an absolute bargain, and of course we had it done. And the guy who came round, he was called Gerald Moran, a painter and decorator from Disley, and he was contracted to and his men to do all these houses and shops on Fairfield Road, because my shop's in the middle. Next door we had a chip shop, and then next door to that we had an antique shop. Little picture of me there in the workshop. Anyway, so we had this contractor around, Gerald Moran, and he was there quite a few days because it was a big operation painting the whole of the place. And they didn't just repaint over the old paint, they actually came round with these blow torches and burnt the old paint off, scraped it all off, rubbed it down. So we had get talking to Gerald Moran, and it turned out he wanted a new TV. Now this was actually the time when I was selling new TVs and videos and microwaves and all sorts of stuff. That's a young picture of me there. Anyway, he wanted this TV, and it was horrendously expensive. It was unbelievably pricey. But the trouble is, he didn't just want to buy the TV, he wanted a demonstration first. It was so expensive, he wasn't just going to part with the money, and didn't like it after. Now, up the road from my shop there was a Philips dealer, and he got a lot of Philips TVs in stock. So I said to Gerald Moran, I said, go up the road to the Philips dealer, and he's actually a friend of mine now. He's a subscriber to my channel, so he'll be watching this. So no offence, David. Anyway, so he went up, Gerald Moran, he went up to this shop up the road, and he had a full demonstration on this Philips TV. It was well expensive, and I said, go up the road, have a demonstration, see if you like it. If you like it, come back down. Whatever price he quotes you, I'll knock you another £100 off the price he's quoted. Anyway, he went up to David's shop and he had a demonstration. He came back down. He said, "Yeah, I like that TV. Can you order me one?" And the TV in question, it was a Philips. I think it was 26 or 28 inch. Described in the catalogue as having an African mahogany cabinet, and it was all like, it was polished that much you could see your face, and it was really, really impressive. Anyway, I found, where's it gone? That's the wrong one. I found it here now again. So here it is, Gerald Moran, Disley, 6th of 5th 1995, Philips Classic TV, special price, £999. That's £1,000 for a telly. I mean, a Samsung one, you could have bought 2 Samsung ones for the price of that. And I also sold him a Sharp, it would be a VCA, was it VCH89 video, for £349. So look at that, the total cost was 1,340, is it 43 or 48? No, £1,348. And you know, in 1995 that was an absolute fortune. When you consider with the council grant we'd only paid £80 to have the whole of the shop and all the flat up the top redecorated on the outside. But anyway, that's looking through all these invoice books, they brought back a lot of memories. I mean, and that's that's like 30 odd years on. What's really sad when I look through all these books is a lot of these people that I've sold new tellies to are probably no longer with us. But yeah, what a fantastic amount of money back then. So yeah, I'm sorry about that, David. I know you wasted your time giving them a demonstration, but we're friends again now, aren't we? And if you look at some of the new stuff I was selling back then, it was, you know, unbelievable amounts of money. Got a receipt here, Philips 14 TV CR240, a 14-inch TV and video, £399. I mean, what can you buy for £399? How about 6 flat screen tellies? And here's another one. Again, 20th of the 3rd, 1995. A small sharp microwave oven, £89. 3-year extra domestic and general warranty. Brings the bill up to £123.40. I mean, what's a 0.6 cubic foot microwave oven now? About £35. You get nearly 4 for that. Anyway, that's enough of that. Looking through these, it's I mean, these bring back a lot of memories, these, and a lot of great sadness. I just think how good the times were back then compared to now. But anyway, what we'll do is we'll come back to the video tomorrow, and we'll take a look at that and see if we can get that going and get that onto this telly. Right, okay, so another day, and we're back onto this, the Matsui VX1106 video. Now it says here it's security code. Let's hope that somebody's not put a code in, because we haven't got the remote control, and I think you need the remote control to cancel it. And don't forget, back in the day when these were relatively new, even though it was a cheap one, it would have been a lot of money, you know, back then to somebody. So it could be coded. Let's hope it's not. The first thing we need to do is get the top off. As you can see, not only does it have an RF outlet, but we also have a SCART on this. I don't think the TV had a SCART on, did it? No, that hasn't got a SCART on. Well, it doesn't matter because we can run it through RF. Let's just have a quick look what it says on there. Not a lot. Let's get the lid off. So that's it with the top off. Now straight away I can see that this isn't the model I was thinking of, where the limiter post used to drop out. This is a bit later model than I was thinking of. But anyway, it's in very nice clean condition inside. So it's probably not had a great deal of use. That's your loading belt there. I guess if we look at the pinch roller, we can probably guesstimate how much use it's had, but it's very, very clean. And there is a date on the top of the cassette housing, 5th of September 1998. So that would make that 27 years old. Now there's every chance this is just going to work, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it in first, and we'll just load a dummy cassette into here and just have a look what happens, because it probably just needs a bit of a clean. Maybe even take the mode switch out and clean that. So let's load a dummy cassette in first. Right, so here we go. That's the dummy cassette I've got. Back in the day, every workshop would have had one of these, essential for testing videos. So here we go, switch on there. 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah, clock's come on. Which is the on and off button, that one there. Yes, come on, the FLD's nice and bright. I've looked at the pinch roll, it doesn't have a lot of wear, but I have noticed it doesn't spin very freely, so that probably just wants a little bit of lubrication in the bearing. But anyway, let's load this in. stand up so you can see it going in. Yeah, well, that all looks promising. Just press the play button. It's difficult to see in there. Oh, take-up's not rotating. Oh, we in play? Yeah. Eject. Let's just try it again. I'll try fast forward this time. Yeah, it's not fast forwarding. We've got no drive to the reels, so it does require some more investigation. Right, this is one of them where you can't see anything underneath. You have to take the whole deck out to look underneath. I would imagine it's belt driven. The drum motor is direct drive, as you can see, but I would imagine the reels that you can't see under there are belt driven. So let's get the deck out and have a look. Actually, I've just had a thought. This might not be looking too good. The fact that we can only put the cassette in and eject it, and these other buttons don't work, I wonder if it has had a security code set. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to connect this to the TV, because I can't remember now when the security code set. It might come up on the screen and say enter pin number, but I think we're going to have to do that first. Just connect it to the TV, see if we've got any on-screen messages, because it goes in okay, but these buttons, I would have thought if it was a belt broke or some mechanical fault you'd hear something in the deck, but I'm not hearing anything, only the drum running. So let's connect it to a TV and see what happens. Right, so on this TV here, the correct video channel is number 8. Let's get the telly on. Right, there we go, telly's on. That looked like something there. Yeah, it's coming up there. Ah, now we're in trouble. It is as I thought, enter pin code. That means we can't do anything without the remote control or knowing the number. If we found a remote control, I mean, it could be 1 2 3 4, it could be 4 zeros, 4 9, 4 9s. After that, if somebody set it, then you're stuck. Unless I can find a way of cancelling it, but I've got a funny feeling you need the remote control to cancel that. Let's just see what happens when we put this tape in. Yeah, it won't do anything at all. It wants that number. Right, I'm going to just stop this camera while I think about this a minute. And that band, you can see that's coming from the camera. Right, let's just stop the camera a minute then. Right, so I've made some progress. I thought you needed the remote control to cancel the security code, but you don't. What you do is you turn the video on by pressing that button there, the standby button, and then you hold down the channel up and the record OTR for 4 seconds. Now I've just tried this and it works. And let's turn the TV on. I've had to put a bit of masking tape there because it comes up with somebody's name who this video used to belong to, so I've had to cover that up. So let's just get a telly on first and then make sure it's on, and then you press channel up and record OTR 4 seconds. Pin code OK, and there we go, it's working. So that's good. We don't need the remote control because I don't think for 1 minute I've got one. and I'd have to order one specially just so I could cancel that. But let's have a look now. Fast forward. Play. Yeah, it's all laced up, yeah. Got take up now. Right, so I think we'll just try a cassette in it, and if that plays alright, we'll take the deck out, clean all the deck, clean the mode switch, lubricate that capstan bearing. And job's a good one. We're getting there. Right, here we go. I've got pre-recorded tape, so that'll go straight to play. Let's just pull that off. Yeah, that works. Let's eject it. Right, so what we need to do is we need to take the front panel off. I think you take the cassette housing out, unplug everything, and that deck should just lift out. Yeah, look at that, it's not spinning on its own. Now in its day you would have just put a new mode switch in. Now with stuff like that unavailable, we're just going to have to take it out and clean it. So let's make a start. Right, front panel off first, just one plug to unplug there, that comes off. Cassette housing, there's usually 4 screws somewhere. I presume that's one of them, and then there should be, well, they usually have 4 anyway, I'll figure it out. Right, so I've actually had to take this out with the cassette housing on. I can't figure out how you do that because there should be 4 screws and there isn't, there's only 3. The only thing I can think of is maybe that is pushed in under there and you undo the 3 screws and you pull the whole lot back. But it's immaterial anyway because we can get to what we want here. That is the thing in question that we need to clean up, the mode switch. Now just got to make a note of the alignment, cog for cog, so we get it right when we put it back in. And also we'll need to clean the optical units. That will shine onto something on here. Yeah, that shines onto that. That's the tape end sensor. It shines on that light guide, which if we turn it over comes out there, and that splits the light between that sensor on that side, that sensor on this side. So we need to give these a clean because if they get dusty you can end up with a tape stopping after about 5 seconds. So a nice easy job. As you can see, this is all very, very clean inside. That there is the chopper control IC. It's so efficient, look, it doesn't even need a heatsink on it. Yeah, so that's where we are now. Let's just mark up where this mode switch goes in, and then we'll take it out and clean it. But yeah, belts, everything looked fine on it. Doesn't really look to have had a lot of use, if I'm honest. Right, let's get that out. Mark it up, get it out. In fact, if you look there, you can see where it plugs in, how tarnished the contacts are. So if it's tarnished there, it'll be tarnished on the inside as well. So I've made a little alignment mark on one of the teeth there and also on the deck. When we take this out, there should be an alignment mark underneath the switch as well. But I've just made an extra mark there just in case anything goes wrong. Yeah, so if you look at that, there is an alignment mark on here as well. You can just about see there where it's a bit lower, and if we look on there, there's a hole in there just to line it back up, because this has got to be tooth for tooth perfect. So yeah, that's not a problem. Let's just clip that apart, get some IPA in it and give it a good clean out. Like I say, back in the day you just put a new one in, probably only £2 or £3, but stuff like that virtually impossible to get now. Right, look at that, very tarnished inside. That will cause all sorts of intermittent problems on the deck, mechanical problems, so that needs a really good clean out, and then we'll reassemble it then. Well, that's before. I'll show you what it looks like after I've cleaned it. There you go, look at the difference in that now compared to when we took it out. Right, let's get that back in. Right, so that's the mode switch back in. I've lined it up through that hole, and if you look at that, nothing on the deck has moved when we've taken it out because they're still in alignment. So all we need to do now is clean these optical units with a bit of glass cleaner and a cotton bud, and then we'll reassemble it all. Oh, pinch roller, got to lubricate that as well. Right, so that is the optical unit down there. I've got a bit of glass cleaner on some cotton bud. You only need to do the face of it like that, and then when it's nice and shiny, just dry it off. And also we've got to do the infrared LED there, and same again, quick clean, polish it, do the ones on the sides here, and we're ready to go. Oh, and of course don't forget to do the one in the middle as well. There we go, and that is the one at the side. And also I'm going to clean the video head. I'm going to clean all the tape path, these guides, the erase head, the audio control head. Clean all them with IPA and just cotton buds, apart from the video head. Don't clean the video head with cotton buds. I'll show you what to do with that in a minute. Right, so that's all the tape path cleaned with IPA. We've just got to take off this pinch roller now so we can get some lubricant into the other side of it. Of course, when you take that off, you've got to be careful you don't lose any alignment here, because we don't want any cogs moving. Otherwise you have to line it back up again. But anyway, that's it, that's off. So if we look at it, it doesn't look too bad. I think that'll just clean up, but it doesn't spin freely. So I think a good clean will sort that out. Well, I'll tell you what, let's do a now, and then I'll show you when I've cleaned it. Right, so there we go, that's the pinch roller cleaned up. Now I've put a minute drop, the smallest drop possible of WD-40 in there. That's all you need, just on the end of a small screwdriver. And look at this now. See how smooth it is and how long it spins for now. And it's nice and clean, ready to fit back in. Sorted. Right, so that's all done. I'm going to fit the video deck back in a second. I'll show you the head cleaning. I always prefer to do the head with it spinning, but I've just remembered one more thing to do. Down there, that is a slotted opto switch. Just make sure, give it a little blow, make sure there's no dust in it, because that detects if the reels are turning. And you can see on there, they've got castellations where the light shines through and then it blocks it, and then it shines through and then it blocks it. So you don't want any dust in there giving a false reading. But anyway, that's it. Let's get it reassembled. Right, so we'll just give it a quick test with the blank cassette housing first to make sure everything's mechanically fine, and then we'll try it with a proper cassette. Yeah, we've got take up, so that's okay. I tell you what, let's just clean the video head first. I'll show you what I do. So these are the things I've used for more or less ever since I can remember. The Cold Clean 33 lint-free cleaning cloths. Now these are very rare now. As far as I know, these are virtually unobtainable. I once saw a packet of these on eBay and they were like 20 quid. I've only got these few left, so I'll use these very sparingly. So what you need is lint-free cloth and some IPA, and I like to do this with the head spinning. Right, so what I've done is I've folded that into a quarter. I've sprayed on IPA, load in your service cassette, and then with the head running, just hold that, and you'll feel, when you press on it, you'll feel the head tip spinning round, just like that. And that is the way I've always cleaned video heads, because otherwise you'll damage it. So you can see not really a lot of dirt on there, but I think now we're ready to play a cassette. Let's just get that ejected. The bleeping you can hear behind me is security camera, because we've got very high winds and it keeps leaves and things flying past, keeps triggering the camera. But anyway, yeah, that's all done. Let's try it with a proper cassette now. In fact, to just make sure the IPA on the head's fully dry, let's just set it off again. Hairdryer. And just do that before we load a tape in. Right, I'll tell you what I'll do actually. Instead of playing this tape, which you might get a copyright strike for, I'm going to get one of these up here at the ceiling. I've got some manufacturer's test cassettes for repairing. Well, I've got the G-Deck one, I've got the Toshiba one. Let's pull one of them down, just make this video a little bit more interesting. I think we'll try the Toshiba V3 mechanical deck alignment tape. You'll like that. In fact, I can't think of a better way of finishing this video without playing a few minutes of this. As you can see, it's come from Charles Hyde, who went out of business about 10 years ago. Let's get this on. Right, so I've just got it out of its box. It's not at the beginning, but it really doesn't matter. Let's get it in there. It'll play on its own. There'll be no copyright on this, then you can watch it for a few minutes.
Turn the pinch drive assembly to remove it.
Sorry about the line, but that's the camera.
Fit the pinch lever assembly into the innermost groove in the cam gear. After replacing the pinch lever assembly, follow the instructions in the service manual for adjustment of the tape transport system. Now let's look at replacement of the cam gear. First, remove the top bracket, the cassette holder assembly, the driver lever gear, and the drive arm assembly. Remove the loading drive assembly, the pinch lever assembly, the cam slider tension spring, and the cam slider. Now remove the cam gear. Apply grease to the new cam gear and to the shaft of the gear. Before installing the new cam gear, push the take-up slider downward and push the drive slider downward. Insert the cam gear at this angle.
Yeah, so what do we think about that then? That's a good tape, isn't it? I bet it's a while since you've seen one of them.
Parts, go back and look at each item again. Next, we will explain the procedures for replacement of the cam lever and the front-loading drive slider.
Right, let's eject that
Remove
out
the
now.
cam gear.
So, there we go, guys and girls on YouTube. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Many thanks for watching, and if you like vintage stuff, subscribe to my channel for some more. Alright then, I'll catch you in the next video. Goodbye.